I don't know. I think the thing that makes the Visitor so weird is just all the different versions of his origin. He's the one character that they've retconned and gone back to and changed multiple times. So, first of all, he's the one that started the Fortnite storyline. Chapter 1, Season 4. Then fast forward all the way to Chapter 1, Season X. And he seems to come back. But he builds himself a different suit. And they were originally going to name him the Visitor Volta, but then that gets changed to the Scientist. And it's like, okay, well, that's weird. Right, fast forward, going to Chapter 2, Season 8, and we're like, oh, this Visitor guy and the Scientist guy are two separate people. Like, we're seeing them stand next to each other. So it's like, okay, confirmed, they are two different people. And then he gets chromed, Chapter, 3, Season 4? And that's, you know, kind of the end of it until now. The Visitors come back all the way in, Chapter 6, in the middle of Season OG. And so, okay, we got the Visitor back now. Great, awesome, cool. He seems to remember things from his past. And then now we get these weird leaks today where it's like, no, this isn't the Visitor that you think he is. This is a Visitor from a completely different timeline. Man, that complicates stuff so much. And the thing is, like, we had a lot of theories on this channel over the last few months talking about timelines and what it meant for Fortnite to be in all the different iterations with how the last reality was controlling things, all that. And it's such a weird thing to try to wrap my head around now. Because on one hand, if I'm remembering my other theory correct, it was, okay, the Fortnite is one big continuous time loop. OG is basically a new timeline. Hold on. Oh, my booby trap caught somebody. The OG map is like the timeline being rewritten all over again. But then even with that theory, there was problems, right? Because it's like, okay, well, so that's running simultaneously alongside Fortnite Chapter 6 at the time, and there's a bridge between those two things with like the red cube, and it's just, I don't know, it's so hard to wrap your head around. Then you got to add in the iteration thing with the last reality, and the last reality being able to see through time and space, and how much are they manipulating. You got the original Visitor, which had all the tally marks on his body or on his suit, indicating how many times he had been through the loop or been through this time cycle over and over and over again. Everything does seem like it's a cyclical, but it's just like, but to what degree, man? And I don't know. That's what's tough right now, chat. I honestly don't know what to believe, and it's frustrating my soul. Like, I really don't know what to believe right now. So does that mean there's separate 0 points in time? See, that I will say this, and this is the problem I've always had with my theory. I don't understand how the 0 point works. The other issue too is, like, can any information that we've had up to this point, can we trust it? Like, okay, let's go back to Fortnite Chapter 4 when we go through time. Jonesy goes back in time. Oh yeah, that theoretically there should have been another version of the Visitor back there, right? Like, Jonesy went back in time. He's getting messages from Sloan from the future, and she's describing how things are changing. So it seems to work on like a Back to the Future kind of time travel system. We're like, okay, you change something in the past, it alters something in the future. But now I'm wondering, with the revelation of Fortnite going through iterations, is that true? Or is that just like manipulation from the last reality? Is this all just like one big playground for the last reality to just kind of mess with people? It's like, it's not that time is cyclical, but they keep running the same simulation, like the same series of simulations over and over again, and that's how the iteration is working. It's not that like they're going through time over and over again, but the last reality is repeating certain events over and over again. So basically, let's imagine to make this simple, let's say the chapters 1 through 7 are the set amount of islands that the last reality has access to, and they just keep shoving us through all those islands over and over and over again to test out different things. Is that the way it works? Is it no time travel, but we just think it's time travel because it's all part, like, there needs to be clarification now. Like, I feel like the Fortnite storyline is just getting too complex. It's so complex. See, my next theory that I made, see my next theory that I have might be what might happen, because I don't think it's just a simulation. There's there's the things. Some aspects of it are a simulation, and then other aspects of it are just the events playing out. I don't know, man. It's very difficult. Dang, AB, sorry, my bad. AB, I see you over on TikTok. You're going ham. The TikTok chat wasn't updating. They will all be in different modes. Our face will be different. I think there will be a time when we actually lose and they win. That's what it seems like it's building up towards the last. But the thing is, people that talk about the last reality losing, bro, I don't really think the last reality is technically really ever lost. I think it's all just been part of the plan. Like, are we getting prodded and studied like a zoo? That's what it seems like, Afro. Like, and this kind of goes to what Ibby's talking about. I don't think the last reality is losing. I think they're just testing things. Like, even back when I was a young Fortnite theorist, like I was early in like creating Fortnite theories and learning about the storyline. The Cube Queen's death always seemed weird to me. They just flipped the island over and that was it. Like, why couldn't they just like swim to the other side? Why couldn't they just open a portal up on the other side? Like, I guess they didn't have the equipment up on the other side, but why don't you just like go through the island? Because like, yeah, at first it gets dunked underwater, but as you could see in like later images, even in chapter 3, like the other side of the island was fine. It wasn't submerged in water. It was, it was floating outside. It just exists in space. Just like any planet. It's just out now. There is no up and down in space. It's just you're there. Right? It's a matter of perspective. What side are you on? So I just don't know why the last reality just didn't fly around to the other side of the loop and just take over. They're just things that don't make sense. It's like that victory over the last reality during the chapter 2 end event just never made sense to me. It's so weird. Would completing the 0 point make the reality we're currently in reality 0? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think reality 0 necessarily has to be anywhere the 0 point is, because if you remember in chapter 4, actually no, we know that's not how that works, because in chapter 4, I forget what reality we were in, but it was no longer reality 0, and it was stated. It was blatantly stated somewhere, but we still had a petrified 0 point. So no, that's not how it works. I don't know what reality we're in right now. Has their plan changed? Like maybe the Nothing wants to destroy the 0 point? No? That's another thing that's very odd to me. What does the last reality want, man? Like, what's the point? What are they really fighting for, Like, what are they actually trying to accomplish? I always had the theory that they wanted to wipe out everything, but my problem is this. Is it a situation where, I'll give you an example. Transformers. I know, the easy example for me, right? But in Transformers, you have Unicron and Primus. It's basically an allegory for God and Satan, in essence. But the way it worked, the way Transformers worked when I was a kid was, Primus was like the essence of good, and Unicron was like the epitome of evil. As long as there was hate and war in the universe, Unicron would always exist to some degree. You could never truly defeat Unicron. You could put Unicron in a dormant state, but you could never beat him. In Transformers Energon, they technically destroyed Unicron. They destroyed a spark, which for Transformers, that's like the essence of their being, right? That's like their soul. They destroyed Unicron's spark, and the result was a black hole opening up and kind of sucking everything in the universe into it. Like it was ripping everything apart. And the only thing that they could do to stop it was to retrieve 4 fragments of Primus' spark, the Cyber Planet keys, and close the black hole. But what it showed was that Unicron was a necessary constant for the universe. You couldn't get rid of Unicron, otherwise there'd be serious ramifications. Also came to find out later in that series that Unicron did actually survive, but he wasn't like a giant planet anymore. He was just like a normal, average Cybertronian-sized Transformer that's like wandering around space trying to get his strength back. But the point is, you couldn't get rid of Unicron. The reason why I'm bringing this up is I wonder if in Fortnite, if it's the case where The nothing can't get rid of the 0 point. If you get rid of the 0 point entirely, you completely destroy all of reality. Maybe it's the case that the nothing, the last reality, but really the nothing wants just to control it, to contain it, so it can use it for whatever it wants. But it's just like, what does the nothing want? And that's the biggest, I don't know, I feel like that's one of the biggest problems with Fortnite right now, is like there's a lot of cool characters, a lot of cool plot points, but we're starting to run into these issues where questions that have never been answered or addressed are starting to come back up because you're bringing back these old characters, which it's exciting. I'm glad the old characters are back, but we need context. We have no context to very pivotal information for this story. But I don't know. Ice King is back in OG. He was in a promo to tease his replay. If he was there, that MF would not be working with the last reality. If he wasn't, these writers working, smoking something I want some. TS, here's the issue. I could think of a lot of different reasons why the Ice King would want to work with the last reality. I could totally see that being a possibility. I would not rule that out at all. Here's the thing. That's what people don't understand. The last reality has leverage. That's why the Cube King, or the Origin breaking away from the last reality, was so interesting, because he defected from that universe, from that world, from that army, to get, like, he got away from it. He was the Cube King and he left it all behind. But it's just like, but what did he have to sacrifice in order to do that? I don't know. But see, once again, these are things that if we had the answers to these questions, it would make the story so much more interesting, but we don't know. That's the thing. Like, we as Fortnite fans, we don't know this. This is the thing that I'm hoping for from chapter 7. I want chapter 7 to add some depth to the Fortnite storyline that we've never seen before. Right now, and listen, I'm not upset with where the Fortnite storyline is at right now. Right now, it seems like they're setting things up for the rest of the chapter. They're getting things ready for us. But this is not... We've got to start expanding upon the universe and getting questions answered. I don't know. We need Nude and Old to create the context, not gonna lie. Here's the thing. We need... Oh, man, there's so much. There's so many different aspects of the lore that could just be played with. And they're just not doing anything, you know? Ninjoid, it's still funny that the caretakers could walk underwater, but the queen somehow lost to it. That's what I'm saying, Ninjoid. It just never made sense. It never made sense. The caretakers, they're able to bust glass windows underwater, but the Cube Queen she gets splashed by the water and now she's dead. I don't know. That round table we seen back in chapter 1 season 7, what are the last realities? Geno, the prisoner, the Ice King, more worked with each other for some time. That could be a possibility too. We never knew who the other people were at that table, but it would make sense for Geno to be one of them. Here's another thing. Actually, speaking of Geno, this is one big venting session, but I love it. Geno, I feel like it's gonna have to come back at some point. There's that dialogue that we got today that was leaked, where the Order's talking about, we need as much help as we can get to fight off the Dark Voyager. I don't think the 7 are going to be enough. I think she's going to have to call her dad. She's going to have to call daddy, and he's going to have to come in and try to... I forgot I bought this game. He's got to try to come in and save everybody. I genuinely think that's going to be the case. I don't see this fractured 7 group, with all the trauma that they built over these last years, I don't see them being able to do anything, bro. I really don't. I shouldn't say anything, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Ice King locked away dangerous things by freezing them over, like the caddis and the items in his castle. Why would he then turn around and work with a faction that wants everything destroyed? Once again, it depends on leverage. Like, think about it. If you were to tell that story, if you were to have a character like that turn coat like that, what do you think would be a good motivation for him to work with the last reality? Potentially his own reality or his own universe being promised to him, where he's granted peace from everything else? Then nothing promises him, like, hey, if you help me grab the 0 point and get control of the 0 point, I'll make sure that you have a reality where you are at peace and you never have to worry about the destruction of your reality ever again. We'll leave your reality alone. That's one. That's one option. The other option would be the Ice King has something valuable, something something that he cares about, that the last reality is using as leverage against him to convince him to work with him, right? Which I have a feeling that's kind of what they're doing with the Dark Voyager. The other thing too is it could be the case that the last reality or the Nothing grabbed the Ice King and resculpted his existence anew too. That's another possibility. Like, there's a lot of ways you could write that where it would make a lot of sense. The other thing as well is like we don't know a lot about the Ice King. Like, yeah, he collected dangerous weapons and monsters and creatures, things that could threaten the Omniverse for sure. But the other thing that I feel like we're not asking is like, why did he feel the need to do that? Why? Like what? Listen, chat, that's the question that is going to consistently persist throughout the entirety of the Fortnite storyline. When you start like looking back at everything that's going on in Fortnite, or when you start really dissecting the Fortnite storyline and paying attention to like what's the core of the story? What is the story trying to get to? Like, what are we getting at here? Like, what's the point? What you start to realize is that the question why keeps popping up and there's no answers. Why did the Seven defect from the imagined order? Why was Geno in control of Reality Zero for 1,000 years? Why was the last reality formed in the first place? Why does the Nothing want the 0 point? Why does the last reality work for the Nothing? Like, not a single character motivation has been answered, with the exception of maybe Jonesy. Jonesy is like one of the few characters in Fortnite who, like, we know what he wants and why. At least we used to, because it was once again, Jonesy is another good example. It was Jonesy's family. Jonesy worked for the Imagined Order because his reality was chaotic and he wanted to protect his family. But protecting it from what? What was the Imagined Order protecting his family from? How does that work? The more and more I hear about this, the more the 5 realities might be a damn actual canon. Afro, the thing is, Cyan's 5 reality theory was based in solid evidence, like in context, in universe, like evidence. The issue with it was the way Cyan explained it was kind of confusing. When Geno finally gets a skin, it will be insane, bro. A Geno skin is going to go crazy. Everybody's going to lose it when Geno finally gets his skin. It's going to be like one of the greatest moments in the Fortnite community history. I'm telling you, people are going to lose their minds. But Geno is kind of necessary evil, like Unicron from Transformers. Also, maybe Ice King originally knew about the last reality and wanted to get everything powerful out of their hands. Or here's the other thing. It could be the case that the Ice King was trying to gather weapons to fight off the last reality, which should kind of go to TS's point. I see what TS is saying. TS isn't like wrong with his frustration in terms of like it not making much sense for the Ice King to want to work with the last reality. But at the same time, I could see some ways in which they could. Also, I wouldn't say that Geno. Here's the thing. I think people put. Let me say this. It's not that people make Geno more important than he needs to be, but it's more so that we put Geno's importance in the wrong category. I think Geno is important to the story, but Geno's not. His importance has nothing to do with him being a universal necessity like the 0 point or potentially the Nothing. Those are more godlike ethereal creatures. But when it comes to Geno's importance it's huge, but it's for a different reason. Like, I don't like these theories, and I'll be honest, and this is no shade to anybody, but I don't like theories where we're making Geno the source of all evil and Geno's the one pulling the string. That doesn't make sense for that character. That actually doesn't make that character any more compelling. Geno as a character is more compelling if he's more of an anti-hero. Like, if Geno hates the last reality and knows the horrors of the last reality, but created the imagined order to fight off the last reality as a necessary evil to protect the omniverse, then that's a more compelling character. And the thing that adds to that is his rivalry with the Foundation and the Seven. Them also seeming to be like a force for good, but having the wrong, like they have the right intentions, but the wrong motivation or the wrong actions being carried out. Like that adds depth and nuance to the story, which is what it seemed like was being given to us originally. And I don't know. I just don't know if that's I just don't know if we're going to see that. Geno isn't the bad guy. Yeah, pretty kind of. Like, yes, and that's the thing. That's why I like it. It's like yes and no. Like, on a surface level, Geno does kind of seem like a villain, and he is kind of a dick. Like, we can't deny that. Like, Geno's done some messed up stuff, but there was a good reason for it. Like, it's kind of like in war where you sometimes you have to. Sometimes you got to throw the nukes. You have to do it. It's tough, man, but that's what makes that story more interesting. No wonder why the last reality feared the imagined order. The last reality, I don't know so much they feared the imagined order, but they didn't. They seemed to let. How do I say this? They had trouble. The last reality had troubles with Geno. Geno was able to hold them at bay in a way that no other faction has. For some reason, the Seven had no idea what they were getting into. Either that or the last reality just ramped everything up after they got rid of Geno. Like, once Geno was out of the way, last reality was like, okay, yeah, let's show y'all what we actually can do. And here's the thing. It could have been the case that, like, let's run a what if scenario. What if the Seven didn't win? What if Geno and the Imagined Order stayed in control of the 0 point, going all the way up to Chapter 3, Season 4? The last reality probably still would have showed up with the Chrome. But would the Imagined Order have been able to defend it off? I think the Chrome might have been designed to take out Geno and the Imagined Order. I think that's like, if you look at it, okay, let me say this. This is what's interesting about paying attention to like the different threat levels over the course of the Fortnite storyline, going from Chapter 1 to like Chapter 4. Every last reality threat that we got, like over time, like the scale and the threat level just increased more and more and more. Like, it's like the last reality just became more dangerous over time. But that Chrome, I really feel like they created that Chrome to take out the Imagined Order. But the Seven kind of did their work for him. I don't know, man. Chad, there's a million different angles I could attack this from. This has been like one big long rambling session. We're gonna keep talking, obviously, but I was recording this whole conversation. I think I'm gonna upload this as a YouTube video. And just kind of get the community's thoughts on this, because I don't even know what I'm going to title this video, because we covered a lot of stuff. This is, in some ways, is kind of my frustrations with the Fortnite storyline. You know what? I just realized. I think I'm going to title this video, the Fortnite storyline is becoming too complex, something along those lines, because it really is. And if I was a new player trying to get into the story, I'd be so confused. And I think that without further clarification, the Fortnite storyline is just going to get more complicated. It's going to become more confusing.